Hi Mike, thank you for joining us today. Could you please share what you do?
Yes, I work for the International Advertising Association. We're a global company that runs events and we do training as well. And we work with advertising agencies and with marketing companies, so big marketing corporations as well as individuals who are interested in boosting their brand. We're all about brand growth and making brands more creative and making them last longer.
Yeah, sounds impressive. Hopefully we're going to get more in touch with your association.
Yes. Okay.
Meanwhile, could you please tell how the conference was for you?
I thought it was very interesting. What I've seen more of is like these customer data platforms. That seems to be the way the industry is sort of going. And it's providing, I would say, up until now you've seen a lot of different platforms which exist, but they're all things which companies can use. So this is providing more of a core center, which is the glue between all these platforms. It's like a way to manage the platforms and the data coming in. So I think that's probably the main thing I've seen. And also there's some artificial intelligence which is being used in the analytics. That's tending to happen a little bit more. And I've seen what I would call like sort of Lego building blocks, which is turning code into specific visual blocks and using them to build certain assets, like landing pages, for example, or email templates. And that way of making the process of building something simpler means that you can get less expensive ways of doing that. You don't have to employ an agency to do that. You can do that in-house. Yeah. So that's interesting. So there's a sort of standardization of ways of doing things, simplification process. People are trying to provide simpler ways of marketing and using technology just to simplify their world.
Gotcha. And as from your expertise point of view, how do you think where the industry is going in the next 2-3 years?
Well, I went to a talk yesterday, and it was interesting that the number of companies which are producing MarTech software seems to be leveling out. So there's a bit of consolidation that's taking place. I think some of the smaller companies are being eaten up. But where there's a lot of growth is within individual, let's say, service providers like PwC, who are providing ever more apps and solutions within what they're doing. So you're getting a shift from maybe independent production of software to software being produced by these big houses who are providing services. So it's just who's doing it. It's moving from smaller independent companies to the bigger companies who are deciding, oh yeah, we should get into marketing. Like consultancies thinking, the future actually is in providing personalized services. So let's provide a suite of different products that we can do rather than letting these independent companies outside do that.
Yeah, so they develop the expertise within, they also acquire different companies for that.
And it makes sense because they've got the scale to really leverage the technology.
Yeah, that's true, and they can reach the customers pretty much faster.
Yeah, and the other big thing I would say is the regulations around privacy, which are starting to hit home. And I think by August, the California Privacy Act will go into force. So there needs to be a response from a lot of companies as to how they're going to use their data and how to present the data to consumers. And I don't think everyone's really figured that out yet, because if you get onto a site as a consumer, you can get easily put off if you're asked questions immediately about, can you let us use your cookies for this, that, and the other. So trying to get the interaction between websites and apps and consumers right is something which I think everyone needs to look into and to manage that. And there's a few companies which are starting to develop pretty good ways of managing the data.
Whom can you call as the examples?
There's OneTrust behind us. They're pretty much, as far as I can see, they're one of the leading companies developing that. So. And that's one of the areas which the IAA is focused on, is privacy and really making sure that brands can use that to their advantage, to build trust with consumers.
So I can say that we can call the privacy management and data regulation as one of the challenges for the industry. Do you think there are more of them?
More challenges?
Yeah.
I think the biggest challenge is that just navigating the sheer volume of different companies. I mean, there's over 7,000 providers of apps and software, and it's increasing. Over the past years, it's been increasing by like 20-30%. So it's settled down this year as like a 5% increase apparently in the number of providers. But it's a huge number, and everyone, when you talk to somebody, they're always selling their own point of view, and they always know their part of the category very well. So you talk to a CRM person, they'll be trying to sell you on the very latest CRM functionality that they can offer you, and you're still sort of working out, well, so what's the main CRM functionality that I want, not what this guy is differentiating themselves on. So the question is, how do you understand what's being offered and how important that offering is? Because sometimes they're maybe exaggerating the value of something which they're offering. So you have to really know the market and go into each of these different sectors, because the consumer journey is made up of a lot of different points of contact, and marketing technology can help all these different points, but you've got to understand them all and how they connect.
Yeah, thank you for that. And from your standpoint, we've shared with you the idea of Media Machines Lab and the suite of products that we are developing right now. Can you share your thoughts around it? Oh
yeah, I think that if you're in marketing or in an agency, then consolidation of data is very important. It's you have to be able to consolidate the data in order to be able to look at specific areas with greater depth. Like, say you've got a particular message and you're using that message across multiple platforms like sort of Facebook, Google, whatever. You need to be able to consolidate all of those platforms and, let's say, the response that you're getting, so that you can say, well, this message is better across all platforms than this message. And if you don't consolidate it, then you're left saying, okay, well, I know that this message does well on Facebook, but I'm not sure how well it does on this other platform. So it becomes much more difficult to get a clear view of the sort of communication you should be doing and what the content should be. So I think what you're doing is you're fitting into the clarification process, which is one of the trends I was sort of talking about. This is why people come here, is to try and get their visibility of what's really sort of happening, and to sort of understand the market.
Thanks. And to wrap it up, I have one last question left for you.
Yes.
If you were to give an advice for, let's say, young MarTech company, what that advice would be?
I would say be able to tell people what you do in about 5 seconds.
That's quite a challenge for, I guess, a lot of companies in here.
Okay, let's say 20 seconds.
Okay.
Because when you go up to any of these booths, you will see a diagram which will take you at least 5 minutes to understand. And the diagram also will assume you know certain things which you don't. So if you're selling your services, the first question is to understand what the person in front of you wants, is looking for. So you have to understand their needs. Then you've got to have a very specific selling point to be able to say, okay, this fits into this profile of customer. I'm going to give them this speech, and it's going to be like, this is going to be my 15-second spiel, to really sort of tell them what's going on and simplify it. Because otherwise, I've generally found that by the time I've talked to somebody, understood what they do, and they've understood what I'm looking for, we've probably spent about 25 minutes.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that.
and nowadays, you want to get through like 30 people a day, 30 or 40 people a day. So it would be a great help if everyone's clearer in terms of what they're talking about.
Yeah, so I think we're going to follow this advice and do our homework on the representation. Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for your answers. We're done for today.